Saturday Night Football on ABC. Brought to you by Wendy's. You know when it's real.
Beautiful night for a football game in Northern California. Jim Harbaugh, the Stanford Cardinal, ready, and Jim is down below with Aaron Andrews. As you can see how wild this last game was. Aaron, if he shows us this much tonight, we're going to have some contest.
I already know I can't ask him what the keys to the game are, Brent, but I will ask you.
Score more points.
Yeah, no kidding. Let me ask you first about your quarterback, who in the last 3 games has combined for almost 700 yards. What's maybe the biggest challenge that Arizona's defense will present him tonight?
Well, they do a great job defensively of moving forward, moving their feet toward the quarterback. The ends, the interior guys. I mean, he's going to have to step up. He's going to have to buy time. He's going to have to get away from people.
Nick Foles will get the start for the Wildcats. How do you counter his passing attack?
Well, he does such a great job of getting it off, quick with timing. We're going to have to try to get pressure on him and play coverage.
No keys in this one. Thanks. All right, Brent.
All right, Aaron, thank you very much. And we get ready. John Bonanno with the ball on the tee for Mike Stoops. And here is Mike Stoops, and of course he played collegiately as a defensive back at Iowa, while Jim was a quarterback over at Michigan, and the two did face one another as players. And here they are squaring off. They have built 2 programs, both inherited situations that were very difficult. It has taken Mike Stoops a little bit longer to get there, but he told us last night, Herbie, that he thinks this is his best team that he's ever had.
I think he's very confident having Nick Foles back, the experience, and this is the night that both these coaches find out a little bit more about how good they really are facing the competition, because it's going up.
Chris Owusu, the talented wide receiver for the Cardinals, back deep for this kickoff. Stephen Taylor's right there, you can see, as the camera pans over his helmet to Owusu. Underway in Stanford. Short kickoff, fielded on the run at the 13-yard line, and Owusu brings it out to the 31-yard line. And Andrew Luck, the sophomore from Houston, Texas, his daddy now the athletic director at West Virginia, and he played 4 years in the National Football League, and Luck has some future ahead of him.
No doubt about it. Everything that NFL teams, GMs, head coaches look for: 6'4", 235, makes quick decisions, great pocket presence, outstanding accuracy, especially downfield, Brent. But tonight, going to rely on that running game to be able to set up their play-action pass.
Zach Ertz, one of the 2 tight ends. Stephen Taylor, number 33. That's Ertz going in motion. And the first play of the game, Luck fires incomplete. Doug Baldwin, the intended receiver. And Herbie, who are some of our impact guys here tonight?
Well, besides Andrew Luck, Stephen Taylor in the backfield has kind of taken over. He has great vision, very efficient. 5 straight 100-yard games coming into tonight. And good to see Ryan Whalen back in this lineup. You and I had Stanford against Oregon. He was battling an injury with his elbow. The brace is off. He's had 11 catches in the last 2 weeks. Kind of the go-to guy, especially when Luck needs a first down. Whalen seems to be on the other end.
Kobe Fleener, another one of the talented tight ends. Mike Stoops laughingly said, "I've never seen so many tight ends in my life," when he was breaking tape down. But Jim Harbaugh uses a bunch of tight ends, H-backs, quick strike to the outside, basically Owusu on a running play. And he's brought down by Adam Hall, who comes up from the corner. Now I want to take a look at this offensive line. It is a veteran offensive line. Martin, Phillips, Beeler, DeCastro, and Hall. Beeler, one of the more talented centers in the Pac-10, and there are several who are outstanding, but they got 4 seniors there.
Yeah, having 4 seniors with this kind of offense, it's really sophisticated. For fans at home, watch a lot of the pre-snap movement. Watch how many different formations and personnel groupings Stanford will give Arizona, all to try to create some confusion, and having a veteran unit up front is very important.
Mike Turner, one of the defensive backs for Arizona. On this 3rd down and 5, you can see him at the top of your screen. Back off a little bit. Andrew Luck. Pump fake, now comes back underneath right at that first down marker. He hit Kobe Fleener, the tight end. You got the He got the spot for the first down.
He sure did. And this is the matchup on the outside. The defensive ends, you can see Brooks Reed, 42, getting in there. You know, Arizona's applied pressure all year. Number 1 in the Pac-10 with 27 sacks. And their goal tonight is to get Andrew Luck into third and obvious passing situations. So Brooks Reed on one side and Ricky Elmore on the other can try to apply that pressure.
And Herbie, don't forget that third one. DeAndre Reed, number 83. He's just as good as the other two. And so you've got some of the more talented rushmen in the conference here on 1st and 10, coming out from the Stanford 41-yard line, and whistle prior to the snap, and that will be the first penalty of our game here
prior
tonight.
To the snap. Timeout, Stanford.
Let me check that.
First charge, timeout of the half.
Yeah, Jim Harbaugh.
This will be a 30-second timeout.
Saw how Arizona was responding to his motion with a defensive back, and he jumped right in front of one of the officials and called a timeout.
That's Jack Wood, our Pac-10 referee here tonight. Matt Jordan, he'll be his umpire. Bill Richardson is upstairs. He's manning the replay booth as we take a break. 13:30 when you come back. Just underway at Stanford. Gorgeous weather here in Northern California. Stanford located just south of San Francisco, down the peninsula. That city, of course, celebrating a World Series championship with the San Francisco Giants, their first World Championship since moving from New York. First down and 10 for Andrew Luck and Stanford. Taylor back in as the running back. Gets a little daylight in the middle. And he picked up about 6 yards on that first down run before Justin Washington, number 43, made the stop.
Something for you and I and for others to watch tonight. We marvel a lot about Andrew Luck, the quarterback, and about how he throws the ball and his pocket presence. His command at the line of scrimmage. This is an offense that has a lot of movement, a lot of window dressing. He just made a little check at the line of scrimmage that might go unnoticed. They picked up 5 or 6 yards. But watch how much command he has, whether it's setting pass protections, making run checks to get into the right play. Really has a great feel for what they're doing.
Owen Marisic is the fullback right behind him. Luck, wide open receiver for the first down, and that's Chris Owusu, his favorite target.
Well, Arizona early in this game, they respect that running game, but boy, Stanford has come out throwing this football a lot early, and I think the timing is there. Owusu has missed some games early this year. He's back now and doing great things. They've called 5 plays, Brent. They have 1 pass and 1 run and 4 passes, and it's because Arizona is crowding the line of scrimmage, trying to take away that running game, and right now Andrew Luck is making them pay for it.
Arizona territory for the first time here tonight. At the 45, they started play action, coming down again, and he's going to go for 6. Got a man. Owusu, touchdown, Stanford. 45 yards for the first score of the night. Nate Whitaker. Daniel Zakinski, the punter. He's the holder. Number 36 puts it down. The Cardinals strikes first.
Saturday Night Football on ABC. Presented by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Nissan, proud partner of the Heisman Trophy. And Citizen Echo Drive, fueled by light. It never needs a battery. Unstoppable, just like the people who wear it.
Well, the Hoover Tower, huh? That was completed back in 1941, celebrating Stanford's 50th anniversary. 285 feet tall. Gorgeous view from up there.
What a campus.
The farm.
Beautiful.
Remodeled stadium. This stadium, of course, once hosted a Super Bowl, and then one of the greatest track meets ever held between the United States and the old Soviet Union. Travis Cobb to take this back. fake the handoff on the end around, and he brings it to the 22. And Herbie, take us back to that score.
Yeah, right before this play, we talked about how Arizona was crowding the line of scrimmage. Look at this, what they're doing on 1st and 10. 8 guys. When you do that, you leave yourself vulnerable to one-on-one coverage. This is Trevin Wade matched up with the best deep threat from Stanford, Chris Owusu. Gives him a little hesitation move. Andrew Luck has all day to throw. Great call on 1st and 10 to get Owusu one-on-one. There's nobody to help Wade. He bites up, and Owusu goes downfield. And how about the ball, by the way, by Andrew Luck?
On the money. And now Nick Foles returning after a 2-week absence. Handling the running back, play action. He'll put it up to the outside on the first pass of the game. Picking up about 6 yards to David Douglas as we take another look at Nick. And Herbie, 9 touchdowns and 5 interceptions on the year.
Yeah, and the one thing you wonder about after missing a couple weeks is how long will it take him to get comfortable and settled into this game. He's missed the last few weeks, but he's such a veteran, and I think he has such a good feel for this offense that you'll see early they're going to try to give him some easy throws to settle him down.
Get that spot for a first down, and he got it. And that was to Dave Roberts.
Here we go,
This is an offense that, like a lot of the spread offenses, a lot of them you see in the Big 12. You know, you go back to Mike Leach, who was at Texas Tech, of course, and Sonny Dykes came over from Texas Tech, and now he left last year from Arizona to go to Louisiana Tech, but still a lot of the same principles that they've had with that type of offense.
Here they bring that jet around, and that is Kleiner, their superstar receiver. And he jets for a first down on that formation. 11 yards on that run. Very familiar part of the attack.
Absolutely, Brandon. And the running game has been a big part of Arizona's growth offensively the last couple weeks. They had 142 yards against Washington State, 234 against Washington, and 264 against UCLA. The running game is very important tonight against Stanford to set up their run game as well.
Emptying out the backfield. Antolin out to the right. Short passes inside. Kleiner. And the way Stanford reacted, they thought it was a fumble.
If this is ruled a fumble, they can review it, and if it's called an incompletion, they cannot review this. We'll have to see what the call is.
He slipped. It looked like he had it, but it also looked like he was down when the ball came out.
Yeah, well, they're calling it a catch and a fumble, Stanford football, but this can be reviewed, and I'm with you, Brent. When he slipped, you wonder if his backside touched the turf before he fumbled the ball.
I don't think there's a question, is there, Herbie?
It looks like to me. And obviously, they're going to take another look at that. That's about the best look we're going to have.
Down he goes.
Yeah, he looks like he's touched.
I don't think there's any question.
Mike Stoops was almost to the middle of the field.
Got to tell you that Sherman goes after the loose ball, but Scove is the young man.
Made a big hit.
Came up and made the big hit on this play. Scove deserves the credit. There he is on top, number 11, and you can see Richard Sherman reaching for the ball. He is the cornerback who recovered it.
Our truck doing a great job giving the replay booth about as many looks as they need. And Mike was fired up, obviously, when that call went in favor of Stanford. I think he felt he had a pretty good perspective of it because it happened right in front of him.
He wants to know who called it a fumble. That's what he wants to know. He's got the side judge over there.
It's a big, however this goes, if Stanford gets a break and they get the ball at Arizona's 40, the way their offense can score, this is big. This is big early in this game.
Last year's showdown went right down to the last play. Incomplete pass thrown by Stanford into the end zone. And Mike Stoops and the Wildcats hung on for a big win. We have got two of the fieriest coaches in all of college football here tonight, folks. You're going to enjoy the sideline shots as we take another look at this.
Brent, do you think, I'm caught up in is it a fumble or not? Do you think there's a question about is it a completion or not? I mean, it looks like he had the ball long enough where it's
looks
not
like he made a football move before he slipped, didn't he?
It looked like it, so.
After review, pass is incomplete.
Oh, there you are. You're right.
It will be 2nd down and 10 at the 45-yard line. Please reset the game clock to 10:54. Thank you.
See, Mike's still fired up because he's saying, if I could see that from the sideline, you guys got to make that call. Bottom line is Stanford doesn't have the football. His offense comes back out, and now it's 2nd down and 10. But, yeah, I'm glad they're up here trying to figure out incompletion, completion, fumble. Is he down?
I'll tell you, the field judge and the side judge, they're going to get an earful for these new sidelines tonight. They're going to get a lot of help, trust me, from Stoops and Harbaugh as we look at a 2nd and 10 for Foles. That quick strike passing game, and Stanford doesn't have an answer for that yet. Roberts again, Sherman up to make the stop.
And what Arizona wants to do against Stanford is try to get their athletic ability from the receivers, the inside and outside receivers, to running backs in space against the Stanford defensive backs, most especially the safeties. Try to make them cover against the great athletic ability that Arizona has on the perimeter.
This is a very big offensive line. Maybe the biggest overall in the Pac-10 as you look down on those big fellas protecting Foles. Andelin picks up the 1st down rather easily behind that big line. Baxter, the center, he's the key man.
Yeah, Brandon, that's a good call. I mean, you got some guys on the left side, 335 pounds, 325 pounds, and that time, the one thing that this offense has, the way Antolin is running in this backfield, is they have a slasher. He's undersized, but he runs hard, especially between the tackles.
They show the jet this time and hand off to Andelin, trying to run to daylight. He's got the corner on Sherman. Got a 1st down before he's rustled out of bounds at the 24-yard line by Howell.
And there's the vision of Antolin and the toughness. He's undersized, but he has a low center of gravity, shakes the potential tackle of Richard Sherman, and gets downfield. The last 3 or 4 weeks, he's really starting to play and kind of get into a groove. We talked about the importance of this running game to go along with this passing game of Nick Foles.
And we've got an injured Cardinal down on the field. That was a 19-yard run, and Sherman was the corner coming up on that as he got around him, and he is down. If there is a weakness on this team, it would be in that secondary. Jim does not have a lot of outstanding depth back there, and so he can ill afford to be losing people like Sherman in this game.
Yeah, that's definitely true. They battled through some injuries at the safety spots with Howe and Thomas, and you're right, they don't have the numbers, and Sherman and the rest of their defensive backs, pretty good size, and they want to stay healthy. But the thing is, Brent, you wonder in this game, it's Stanford's defense trying to be able to play in space against Arizona, and on the other side, it's Arizona's speed against the size of Stanford. Right now, both offenses kind of having their way in the opening series.
He might have just had the wind knocked out of him, up on his own power, and of course he has that left arm wrapped, and he's squeezing a little bit if he went down and had a stinger on that side. And so we'll see. They have a freshman that they have used, a young man from Texas, Barry Browning, and I see that they have sent him off the bench, and he will replace Richard Sherman, and he's all alone out there on a corner, and Foles knows it. Comes back the other way, and there was a whistle prior to the snap, I believe, on that. Terrence Miller was the receiver working on that pattern.
False start. Offense, number 67. 5-yard penalty, remains 1st down.
So Garcia, the right tackle. Foles was telling us last night he plays pickup basketball with the offensive line during the offseason. Philip Garcia said, "When do you see that fella lead the fast break? He gets down the floor." Okay. Somebody asked him, "Can he dunk?" Well, yeah, he doesn't get too far off the floor, but yeah,
at 3:30, he's not going to get very high.
1st down and 15 for the Wildcat. And there's that flanker screen thrown to the outside that time. And Kreiner is over there. He now has caught more than 50 passes on the season.
They went right after the true freshman, Barry Browning, back towards the sideline. Kreiner is their playmaker. And even though he didn't have a lot of room to work with, it's an easy pickup of a lot of yards there. And it gives Nick Foles, trying to stay on schedule, another chance. But I think you're right. If they're going to keep Kreiner on that near sideline up at the top of the screen, and you got a true freshman and Barry Browning 31, I think Arizona will take that matchup every time.
Remember, they now have got Scoffel in at that safety. They were hopeful that Michael Thomas could hold up here tonight. And there's a pitch trying to get to the outside with Antelin. And Antelin is taken on around the 2-yard line, and Michael had moved over. So he had moved from safety over to that corner spot, and Scoffel is lined up in the safety, and now we see that Sherman is coming back onto the field, and Browning trots off. So there is number 9. That's good to see.
Good to see him back. Always want to have your veterans as a senior, especially in this big third down.
Wildcats will take it on in. Stanford tried to bring pressure. They get to Foles. Incomplete, and a penalty. That might have been intentional grounding. Chase Thomas, the linebacker, number 44, coming in.
Intentional grounding on the offense. Penalty is loss of down at the spot of the foul. It will be 4th down.
Not a happy coach. One of the best faces in all of college football.
Brent, look at all the movement by the linebackers. This is something that I think that's Stanford's goal, is create the confusion. And Scove at the last moment, along with Chase Thomas, they confused the interior of the Arizona offensive line. And really, Nick Foles had nowhere to go and nothing but to just try to get rid of the ball and throw it away.
Vic Fangio, the defensive coordinator, came from the Ravens. He just dialed up a little
NFL blitz.
Yeah, no question. Try to double up on a man and make him guess as to which way to go.
Yep.
So back deep is Terrell to return this punt by Cryer.
It's also a big sack because now they're out of field goal range.
Now that was a huge play for the Stanford defense. They'd been pushed, kind of that rubber band defense, you know, bend and bend and bend, but don't break.
I think that's the big
Foles on the
delay of game
phone.
Offense 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
He's talking to Seth Luttrell up in the booth. Seth, one of the 2 new offensive coordinators after Coach Dykes moved to Louisiana Tech. So now the return game. Taylor's going to let this one go on. They'll take it out on the 20-yard line. When you come back, it'll be Stanford's ball for the 2nd time. Foles in Arizona down a touchdown. Well, this week ESPN will honor veterans and troops of the United States Armed Services with America's Heroes. A salute to our veterans, and that will culminate in special Sports Center edition live from Germany on November 11th. So here's Stanford, and Andrew Luck go back to work. Taylor is his running back, and he's going to put it up again. Complete to the 26-yard line. And out of bounds on that side is Ryan Hewitt.
Remember the first drive that Stanford had, Arizona was determined to stop their running game. They loaded the line of scrimmage, and Andrew Luck came out in 6 plays, threw the ball 5 times, and hit the big one because Arizona left their corners one-on-one. Brent, you're right. First play now in the 2nd series. Arizona's still determined to take away that running game, leaving their defensive backs one-on-one, and Stanford continues to throw the football.
The freshman, Wilkerson, in as the running back for the Cardinal. His first play of the evening. Toss play to him. And Luck will lead the way. Luck is the leading blocker. Got in the corner's way. And here is the running play. But watch the quarterback, Andrew Luck, get out in front and lead the way.
Love to see that. And he didn't pick up a great block, Brent, but it's the determination and the attitude that his teammates love. Look at him leading the way here. And he gets downfield. He picks up a block, gets in the way of Anthony Wilcox. But I just think when you're a quarterback and you're willing to do that and you're this all-star that everybody's talking about being maybe the first pick in the NFL draft, and you're leading around and leading your your freshman tailback, Wilkerson, downfield, that's impressive.
Running back by committee continues. Play action to Gaffney. Luck, and there's a penalty flag. Incomplete on a dangerous throw. A defender is right there, but there is a flag thrown.
Holding, offense, number 53. 10-yard penalty, replay, first down.
That's Derek Hall. Incidentally, there's a young man on that offensive line, number 71, Andrew Phillips. Suffered a tragedy earlier this year when his father was killed in an airplane crash up in Alaska. There is the young man. He has two other brothers. One plays at Indiana and the other at Virginia. His mother came over, and they have started a charity, and they're working with the NCAA on providing funds to youngsters at schools that cannot afford it, that can make it home when there's a family tragedy like that. And I'm sure we'll be hearing more about that. Here is Taylor now, back in as the running back. And on the draw play, and now Harbaugh is coming with the run. As we check in for our first update, here's Robert Flores in the studio in New York. Robert?
Thanks, Brent. I'll be here all night keeping you up to date on games going on across the country. Starting with this Taco Bell studio update.
Number 19, South Carolina has a big game next week at Florida, but Arkansas's Niles Davis goes in to put Arkansas up 24-7. Gamecocks are driving, and right now on ESPN2, Kansas State up 10-0 on Texas. Brent.
All right, Robert, and here the quick throw to Ryan Whalen. You know, Herbie, they told you and me there was going to be running back by committee. Stanford has used 5 different running backs in this game.
That's the committee. I mean, that's the true definition. And you know, Stephon Taylor has taken over the main role of this offense in running, especially in the last 5 games, 5 straight 100-yard games. But they still like to rotate different bodies in there, and they all bring something a little bit different to the table. And right now, with Arizona still trying to feel their way on how to defend Stanford, I think they're trying to mix these guys in because they do those different have those different abilities.
And Stewart comes in as Avanam watches from the sideline. And a penalty flag prior to the snap. Line judge.
Left tackle Jonathan Martin may have moved just a little bit early.
Good ball, false start. Offense, number 55. 5-yard penalty, still third down.
But Arizona getting Luck in Stanford to third. That was 3rd and 10. Now the penalty 3rd and 15. This is the matchup that we all want to see. Can Stanford protect and give Luck, who's more than capable of executing in 3rd and long with his receivers, but will he have time to be able to throw against this very athletic Arizona front?
Yeah, the numbers to watch, folks, on that Arizona front that Herbie's talking about: 42 and 44. 42 is Brooks Reed. 44 is Elmore. And off the edge, they're as good as they come into Pac-10. Luck going deep. The defensive back fell. Had he been able to hook up with Ryan Whalen, they might have had another touchdown.
And you know, they didn't create enough. They didn't get the sack, but they created enough pressure. They brought a blitz late. Joe Perkins actually is coming in there. But again, it's one of the defensive ends. This time it's Ricky Elmore that gets there, and he gets there early enough because they're leaving their corners isolated one-on-one, and it's Wade once again who this time falls down. Whalen's open, but the pressure got there just in time to force the early throw by Andrew Luck.
Zakinski into punt for the first time, and David Douglas is back for the Wildcats. Douglas again, and it takes a good hop for the Cardinals short of the end zone, and it's downed on the 9. Well, Monday Night Football at 8:30 Eastern. Big Ben and the Steelers head to Cincinnati. They'll face the Cincinnati Bengals. How's that working out with those divas as a wide receiver, that Ochachenko and Owens? How's that going down there?
I don't think they're winning many games. They're going to try to turn things around at home this week.
That's
Have the Steelers lost a game? They've lost one?
Yeah, New Orleans. New Orleans got on them.
Big Ben, I think, coming back to the state of Ohio.
That defense is still pretty good this year. But here we go now. Arizona trailing it by a touchdown. He's got it. Here's a hand up. Antolin, he's got a seam, breaks free to the 26-yard line.
This is a great job of running again by Antolin. Plays designed to go off to the right, but he gets a good block on the left side and is able to follow that. You know, the defensive end this time, Thomas Kaiser, the outside linebacker, coming up in pursuit. I think maybe didn't really respect Antolin. Came down, committed a little bit too much, and that vision this time from Antolin bounces it way back to the left for big yards.
And Herbie, we see Nick Grigsby, number 5, in the backfield for the first time. And immediately they get him going for a couple of yards. Let's go down below to the third member of our team. Here's Aaron Andrews. Aaron.
Brent, just trying to listen in on Arizona's sideline here. They're looking to hurry things up a little bit, and they were telling their wide receivers, line up and let's play fast. And if they're not blitzing you, make them play. So they're trying to quicken things up a little bit.
Yeah, the Oregon influence of the Pac-10. Andolin's back on the field for Coach Stoops and the Wildcats. Hit on the release, incomplete. Good pressure that time. That was Thomas Kaiser, the junior from Pennsylvania, bringing some heat.
Thomas Kaiser, 94. Chase Thomas, 44. Really do a good job as outside linebackers in his 3-4 scheme. They're big enough and strong enough, both about 245 pounds, to be able to hold up against the run, but they're athletic enough that when they create confusion, they can get after the quarterback, and that time they got to Foles.
Hey, Fangio is really mixing the Stanford defenses up. I mean, there's nobody down right now. Now, 1 down, 2 down. Stand 3 in the middle.
It's coming from up top.
And here they come from the corner. So they create that diversion in the middle, and you called it, Herbie, for the outside. Here comes the heat.
Yeah, this time they bring the safety, Michael Thomas, off of the slot. And Brent, when you're an offensive line and you prepared all week to realize that, look out for the pressure from the inside, off to the left side this time. It is the safety, Thomas, completely caught Nick Foles, who, by the way, has missed the last 2 games. And even though he's in sync and he's making throws when he has time, those are the little things you can miss when you've missed a few games. And he's got to catch up to speed here a little bit to be able to help his pass protection to give him time to throw.
And you see how clean these hits are when they wrap them up high, take them down?
Absolutely.
Fire back to punt again, and they forced a little bit of a hurry there, Terrell, and it's going to take a big Arizona bounce. He's got to field that ball. Down at the 11-yard line as we take a look at this week's BCS standings, brought to you by Vizio. One guarantee. Tomorrow night at 8:15 on ESPN, there's going to be a little bit of a shakeup. Utah and Alabama both lose. Now, we're fully expecting that the top 3 will stay the same. How about you, though, Herbie?
Well, I think the real discussion becomes TCU and Boise State in the human polls with the coaches in the Harris poll because of what TCU did today in Salt Lake, pounding Utah. That becomes an interesting battle. Oklahoma currently losing at halftime to Texas A&M. That's a game to keep an eye on as well.
Taylor back in as a running back after that brilliant 62-yard punt by Pryor. Here is on the toss play. Marisek trying to lead the way. Gets back to the line of scrimmage. And Brooks Reed brings him down. This is what Herbie was talking about in terms of the human votes for the BCS, the Harris poll and the coaches poll, and that's how they were this week. And you think that TCU, because they went into Salt Lake, that they could jump boys?
I think for some people, people are going to be impressed with TCU knocking off a top 5 team, at least in the BCS standings, a top 5 team, and they thumped them. I think that'll catch some attention.
Short drop by Andrew Luck, fires to the outside. He's got a completion to Doug Baldwin.
The arm strength there to get the ball out to Baldwin quick. And they don't pick up the first down, but with Stanford's offense, it's about trying to get into manageable third downs where they have the option to run the football or to be able to make a simple throw for Luck. And Baldwin that time, a good quick route, got his head turned around, and he realized that with that Andrew Luck back there, the ball's going to come out to you in a hurry.
Who's your favorite mascot? We got a shot of the tree.
They're crazy.
Here's third down for the Cardinals. Look for the run. Wide open for Marisek, the fullback. First down. easy for the Cardinals. So they stacked the defense in the middle, Herbie, and they went to the fullback.
And they continue to show multiple formations with the hopes of being able to confuse Arizona. And Marisic, it's nothing fancy. He's lined up right there. He slides out, but you notice how Arizona's a little bit hesitant. Vasola that time wasn't able to recognize that on 3rd and short, the fullback's lined up here in the slot. I've got to cover him out in the flat. Just a little hesitation is all Luck's looking for, and he's able to capitalize.
Young man plays both ways, linebacker and fullback. Oh, yes, he also carries a 3-point plus grade point average and probably headed to a pre-med major here as Taylor gets the carry into the middle of the line, and DeAndre Reed, number 83, making the snap. Now there is Marisic, just the epitome of what a scholar athlete should be, and one of the nicest young men you'll ever sit down and talk to. Ask him, if you go to the NFL, what's your best position? He said, tell you the truth, I've had a little more reps at fullback. And Tyler Gaffney is in now as the running back for Stanford. 2nd and 6 for the Cardinal. Just that quick pitch, nothing fancy about this.
Yeah.
To the outside, Herbie, they just keep at it.
Yeah, and again, they're continuing to stay with manageable 3rd downs, just taking what the defense gives them. If Arizona's corners are going to sit back and be a little bit soft, then Luck's just going to, a lot of times he just comes off of the play that's already called and just gets the ball out to the wide receiver on his own, and now they're right back to where they like to be at 3rd down and short. You can see close to 58%, already 2 of 3 tonight, which is tops in the Pac-10, one of the best in the country.
Gaffney alongside Andrew Luck. Can't get to him. Fires in for another 1st down to Baldwin, and Baldwin takes it into Arizona territory to the 41-yard line.
Brent, man-to-man coverage on 3rd down. You've got to be able to get the pressure there, but look who it is. Wade again, man-to-man. The route's that's a simple route on 3rd down. To get a crossing route, trying to outrun the defender. Wade looks a little confused. Once again, a little hesitant there, and opens it up.
22 yards, now back to the middle, and another big gain, and this time it is Rulin, his first catch of the night. He's hit 3 different tight ends, and a penalty flag is down, and Stoops is unhappy.
Holding, offense, number 55. 10-yard penalty, replay, 1st down.
Well, Jonathan Martin. But Stoops was not happy with that coverage.
I think the thing that he told us all week that was keeping him up late at night studying film, extra film, is he said, there are so many different formations, so many different personnel groupings. This quarterback, Andrew Luck, is in such command of every different unit that they put out there. Whatever defense you show, he's able to check to something else. You've got to disguise. And what that does is creates confusion. And he's a defensive mind that believes in being sound with every approach as far as the gap responsibility and stopping the run. And I think he's put so much attention on stopping the run that they've been vulnerable against the pass.
Amanam checked in. Backfield is empty. Andrew shakes a defender. Coming on the move. Still looks downfield and incomplete. He had Whalen on the sideline that time. Brooks Reed blew the play up. But the one thing to keep in mind about Andrew Luck is he can hurt you with his feet. Last week up in Seattle, rushed for 92 yards against the Huskies.
He and also, Brent, not only the athletic ability, great effort here by Whalen. A little bit of a duck there by Luck throwing the football, but Whalen gives it an effort. But the defensive backs right now from Arizona really are struggling in coverage. It's gotten to the point right now where either Arizona's going to get pressure on Andrew Luck or he's going to make them pay for it with his receivers matched up against these defensive backs.
Adam Hall into that secondary. 2nd down and 20, and Gaffney gets the call. He crosses midfield. 3rd and long coming up here for Andrew Luck.
Remember that big pass to Ruland that was called back because of a holding call. That's a completely different drive now because of that error by Stanford up front on the offensive line.
Luck has already thrown for 118 yards here in the first quarter. This presentation of Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Stanford averaging about 9 yards of play, but only 7 points up on the board right now. So Arizona facing a big third down to try to get this offense off the field.
Taylor back in as the running back for Stanford as we start the second quarter. Great pocket. Luck steps up and a strike to the 30-yard line, and Owusu again for a big first down. What a major league arm Andrew Luck has.
Well, Mike Turner on one side and Joe Perkins on the other. Actually double coverage on Owusu, but the break, Joe Perkins gets lost on the cut to the inside and loses him. Had a great throw into double coverage, but found the opening on a big third down completion by Andrew Luck.
Yeah, Herbie, was 15 they needed, and they got 18. That's the receiver getting to the spot and the quarterback deliver. Now it's first down and 10, and Gaffney back on the field. Play action again. Roll out for a nice completion to Fleener. And Fleener picks up 4 yards as we take a look, Herbie, at our Pacific Life game summary here at Stanford.
Well, I think it's pretty obvious right now. Stanford close to 200 yards of offense in just a quarter. And right now, Arizona's been able to hold off, only giving up the touchdown on the opening drive. But you just have a feeling from sitting up here that Stanford's offense is going to be tough to stop for Arizona unless they get penetration to be able to slow down this passing game from Andrew Luck to go along with the running game. Already 6 different receivers catching footballs from Luck.
Marisek back on the field here on this second down. Helps on pass protection. Another first down. Whalen. Ryan Whalen from Alamo, California. He is a senior receiver, and the chains move.
Wouldn't you say this is the closest thing we have to Peyton Manning in college football? Not just the accuracy, but the command, the way he's making checks. You have to keep in mind, he's making checks, a lot of responsibility at the line of scrimmage. Because he's not throwing to 1 or 2 guys. He's throwing to tight ends, he's throwing to running backs, he's throwing to receivers. Just makes, there's so many options for Luck that it makes it tough to stop him.
So here with the power eye, and Gaffney busts inside the 15-yard line. Of course, last week after the Washington game, Jim Harbaugh said that his quarterback should be somebody that they consider for honors. That this young man is as good a player as there is in the country. A lot of other good players around, but Andrew Luck has done everything that's been asked of him. And as you watch him move this team, I'm struck by just what Herbie said, how he manages the offense so well. Second down now, and Taylor's back.
Tight ends against the middle of this defense, something that Luck likes to try to find down here.
So here's Luck stepping back, complete, first and goal, and here's what Jimmy Harbaugh had to say about Andrew Luck.
I mean, let's take a look at this young man. This is one of the truly best players in all of college football, and I know that there's others that are out there very, very deserving as well. But I mean, let's take a look at him and judge what he's doing on the field to see if he's not one of the best or the very best.
In other words, consider him in your Heisman ballots is what basically is what the coach is saying. McGillicuddy, 87 over there on the corner, leading the way. Taylor is stopped short of the end zone.
There's more confusion from Arizona with the different personnel groupings. There's guys running off the field and on the field. Mike Stoops very, very fired up. I think that time Brooks Reed, 42, was late to get on the field. He's offsides. They couldn't get back and line up.
Offside, defense number 42. Penalty will be half the distance to the goal. Remains first down.
Yeah, look, Stanford's already made their adjustments in the top of the screen. Reed's trying to get out on the field. Just too late. Couldn't get there. Stanford almost scored a touchdown.
So McGillicuddy goes over to the left side of the formation, number 87. He'll come in motion as the H-back. They'll set the strength over there on the right. Marisek moves. Taylor Touchdown, Stanford. Stephon Taylor.
You know it's coming. McGillicuddy motions over. Marisic motions over. I mean, they might as well yell out to the Arizona defense, fellas, we're going to run to the right. Good luck stopping it. They brought the left guard, Andrew Phillips, around to help out. It's a big group of men just blowing Arizona off the ball down inside that 2-yard line.
Nate Whitaker, the senior from San Diego, tacks up the extra point. 2-touchdown advantage for Stanford. Well, a reminder, super speed, super strength, even a super brain can protect you from the suspicious minds of your in-laws. ABC's No Ordinary Family, all new Tuesday at 8, 7 Central on ABC. And Herbie, that's still your favorite show?
Absolutely. I kind of gave you a homework assignment last Saturday, but you were busy this week.
I'll catch it this week.
Yeah.
I promise. 14-0 now. Stanford with a 2-touchdown lead here in the first half. Travis Cobb back in the end zone, and that'll come out to the 20-yard line.
This has been a game where Arizona, I think, right now up front, they've been struggling. Give Stanford a lot of credit, creating a lot of confusion for the Arizona offensive line. They've been able to get after Nick Foles, especially on certain situations in this game where it's third down. It's obvious that he needs time to be able to throw. They've been able to bring different blitzes. And I think that's the big thing. Foles and this offensive line, they got to get on the same page. Nick's been guilty at times this year holding on to the football. They got to get him back, get rid of the football, and his receivers have got to win in one-on-one opportunities.
Maybe Arizona's only got 79 yards here as they bring that jet end around again, and breaking to daylight for a first down is Kreiner.
It's good effort here by Kreiner, but a great block by Antolin downfield. See the tailback leading down around the right side, picks up a block, and it allows Kreiner to get upfield and pick up another 10, 12 yards.
Yeah, that was an excellent block. Kreiner, one of the stars in the Pac-10, one of the best wide receivers. Nahuko in as the running back. Nick Grigsby limped off after a play. And there's play action, and Foles going deep, incomplete. Sherman had him covered, and let's check in down below with Aaron Andrews.
Yeah, Brent, that right ankle for Nick Grigsby causing him some problems. He hasn't even gone out there for this series. It was the last time the offense went out there. He missed the last 2 plays, doesn't even have his helmet on. Don't have an update yet, but we'll let you know if we hear anything.
All right, Aaron, and things not going well for Arizona, that is for sure. Stanford has outgained him 222 yards to 97. Foles hands off. Nahuko's first carry of the game, trying to get the first down. And they're going to give him the spot.
You have a power back here in Nahuko. What you lose in speed from Grigsby, you pick up in power from the sophomore, 6'2", 220 pounds. And picks up some good blocks and is able to get to that second level. And you can see you're not going to bring him down with arm tackles or just throwing your shoulder into him. You better wrap him up. And the running game from Arizona, big part of their offense.
And they stay with the young man, and he is thrown for a loss that time by Kaiser. And let's go back to New York. Here's Robert Flores. Robert?
All right, Brent, SportsCenter right now presented by Discover. Zenyatta suffers her first career loss today at the Breeders' Cup Classic. Blaine beats her by a head. And Penn State beat Northwestern 35-21 for Joe Paterno's 400th win. It is the most in FBS history. Brent, Kirk.
So Zenyatta goes 19-1 and is retired. Still scores on the exacta on the underneath. Second down and 13. Antolin throws the block complete, and that is Totogi. They got some nice hairdos on this Arizona team, if you noticed.
Yeah. Totogi is
there we are, the Bernie's the backup quarterback tonight. He's your man. There we go, Antolin. And we got one of the defensive linemen, Brooks Reed. He's over there. Yes, indeed. There's a depression for the Barbers down there in Tucson. They're down in 6 now.
Well, this is where we just showed you a package, how Stanford's doing a good job creating confusion on 3rd down, showing a blitz from one side and then bringing it from another.
3rd down and 6. Incomplete, and it'll be 4th down, and Stanford's dominated this game on both sides of the ball.
No doubt about it, and they've been winning the battle up front and the big downs. The big downs have been 3rd down, and Mike Stoops is fired up. That time, Stanford did not bring a blitz. Nick Foles had what he wanted with Kreiner matched up against a safety. He just overthrew him. That would have been a 1st down.
Terrell is back, standing on the Stanford 10-yard line. Prior to punt again, trailing by 2 touchdowns, barely over 100 yards of offense here. Arizona 1 of 4 on 3rd downs, and Andrew Luck and Stanford 4 of 5 on 3rd downs.
Delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
Brent, you brought up Vic Fangio, and there he is in the hat, coming in from the NFL after spending 24 years there, 11 as a defensive coordinator. And the biggest thing that Jim Harbaugh told us this week that he's learned this year and having him in the first year as a defensive coordinator is how he has answers, able to make adjustments quickly, and his players adapt to it very nicely.
Yeah, Vic telling us that his players, smart, you have to be to get into Stanford, obviously. They assimilate a lot of information. And there's the fair catch at the 10-yard line. There's a flag down. Penalty on the punt.
During the kick, illegal block in the back. Number 2 of the return team. Penalty will be half the distance from the spot where the kick ended. 1st down.
So I'll take it back around the 5-yard line. You're watching Saturday Night Football on ABC. Stanford leading Arizona by 14.
Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Liberty Mutual Insurance. Responsibility. What's your policy? And Cadillac, the new standard of the world.
One of the great symbols of this country, the Golden Gate Bridge. Took 4 years to build that bridge, from January of 1933 to April of 1937. 1.7 miles and 90 feet wide.
Home of the world champion, San Francisco Giants.
Indeed.
How about that?
First time the Giants have won San Francisco.
Pitching always prevails, doesn't it?
It does indeed. Gaffney. And there's the running back behind Marisic. That power formation coming out from this tough field position. And Gaffney brings it back to the 9. Well, Herbie, here we are.
Okay.
Time for your Aflac. Now, you know the 1970 team was honored here tonight from Stanford. So who are the starting quarterbacks on Stanford's 71 and 72 Rose Bowl winning teams? You got 50%. Yeah. Yeah, Jim Plunkett. We're going to give everybody Jim Plunkett.
Right.
Herbie is right on it. Okay. The
Stanford quarterback.
Who
Jim
came
Plunkett.
back with the next Rose Bowl team and quarterbacked that team to the Rose Bowl for Stanford.
Kowski?
I'm thinking about that. Yeah, I'm thinking about that. I thought it was going to be tough for you. I know it's a little bit before your time.
I was 3. I'll get this.
Here we go. Gaffney again. And there is Oliver Luck, played 4 years with Houston. And, of course, that's Andrew's father watching here. Now the West Virginia athletic director.
Yeah, you can imagine it's one thing to compete yourself, but to watch your son going up through the ranks and now the quarterback at Stanford getting an outstanding education and leading the Cardinal in this offense the way he is and being recognized as probably the top quarterback. Can only imagine what that's like for Oliver.
And, of course, Oliver will have something to say. The young man can go into the NFL draft next year. He told us yesterday, Andrew did, that he certainly had not made any decision. He would wait and see. what the NFL feedback is. Jim Harbaugh is going to help him make that decision, of course, along with his
Prior to the
father.
snap, timeout, Arizona. Their first charge timeout of the half.
I don't think he is your typical quarterback that's just going to instantly say, "Oh,
interesting."
Somebody said first round. I think he wants to continue to grow.
Okay.
So we'll see.
Let's take a break, and we'll come back. Be 3rd and 6 when you return. Night closes in. Some beautiful scenes here at this remodeled Stanford Stadium in Stanford, California. 3rd down and 5 coming up. Jeremy Stewart checks in as the running back alongside Luck. Need to reach the 16-yard line for a first down. Luck goes deep to Wayland in a battle over there. No flag is being thrown, and that was Trevin Wade. He was the defensive player.
One of the first mistakes we've seen Luck make on 3rd down. Brent, I want you to watch Owusu, who he's 5 for 5 on when he's gone his way. He broke late, and by the time he threw the football downfield into double coverage, he's thinking he had the home run to Wayland, but if he would have held on and seen Owusu breaking free, he would have had the first down.
Yeah, that's the first 3 and out, too, Herbie. And Arizona should wind up with great field position out of this. Bug Wright, a dangerous return man, is back deep for them. Let's get this sorted out.
Yeah, the umpire.
Dead ball. False start. Offense, number 56. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
And that's the long snapper. Obviously moved the ball in that situation. Zach Nolan. And there is Wright. So he waits. Zakinski's punt. He's standing very close to midfield. He shot from right behind the punter. He's going to run up and fair catch it. Slides to the ground, makes the catch at the 42. Okay, Herbie, here we go. Now, we know that 70 and 71. The Stanford Cardinal made it to the Rose Bowl against Ohio State and Michigan. We know Jim Plunkett was one, and the other very difficult.
Yeah,
this one is for hardcore football fans.
I have nothing for you.
Here we come. Don Bunce. Donnie Bunce. There we are. Over on the right-hand side.
That's great.
And of course, Jim Plunkett, first player picked in the draft, went to New England, I believe, came back, won the Super Bowl. Here comes the fake end around that time, and Kreiner in full flight. Herbie, you and I talked during that break that if they can jump back in here with a touchdown and make this 14-7, they're going to be in great shape.
Yeah, and it's a good call here by Seth Luttrell. It's interesting. They're down 14-0, but just because of the way Stanford's dominated, it feels worse. They got exactly what they needed with the 3 and out, got good field position, the reverse. Now all of a sudden they've got a little bit of momentum going here inside the 25-yard line. Let's see if the Cats can capitalize.
And Nahuko is the running back. Right up the middle. They split the defensive linemen. Make to the 19-yard line. They barge into that red zone. It'll be about 2nd down and 7. Marisek, the linebacker, is there. Shane Scove alongside him. So number 11 and number 48 with 2nd down and 7. Nahuko. And he is brought down by Kaiser, number 94.
Arizona in typically 3, 4, 5 wide receivers. In these last few plays, they've got a 2 tight end look with 2 receivers, and Stanford is elected to put 2 of their defensive backs, the 2 safeties, back deep. And Foles checks a lot himself at the line of scrimmage, sees the numbers to his advantage, but his offensive line has got to get a much better push up front.
See if what the Arizona coaching staff has decided here on 3rd and 4. Foles from the gun is going to try to throw for the first down. Dropped. Had it, and the ball was dropped by A.J. Simmons. And now it is 4th down and 4. Mike studying his options on the scoreboard.
78, Adam Grant, the left tackle, completely confused, and Vic Fangino continues to bring up and dial up these blitzes and gets enough pressure. But hey, even with that pressure, Simmons has got to make that catch for the first down.
So electing to put points on the board. Alex Zendejas. He's 9 of 11 this year. This will be a 33-yarder. Cryer, the punter, is his holder. Zendejas from the right hash nails it. Arizona on the board. 5:55 left in the first half. Stanford leads it 14-3. Well, Sunday NFL Countdown presented by IBM on ESPN Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Some big stories, Herbie, around the league. Randy Moss picked up by Tennessee. I believe this is a bye week. Jeff Fisher, one of the few coaches willing to take him on now. And I am fascinated by the Donovan McNabb-Mike Shanahan relationship. That's unbelievable to me, to take a quarterback out who is mobile with that kind of an arm and say that he can't run the 2-minute offense.
Where do you go from here?
I am shocked, okay? This is going to be fielded on the run at the 9-yard line. Owusu looking for an alley. And Owusu is down at the 29. Let's check in with New York. Here's Robert Flores. Robert.
Brent, were you saying something about being shocked? How about this shocking season for the Texas Longhorns? They continue to struggle. Colin Klein, second touchdown of the night, and the Wildcats opening up a 24-0 lead on Texas on ESPN2 late second quarter. Meantime, Oklahoma has just gone in for a score, but they're still trailing at Kyle Field 19-7 in the third to the Aggies. Brent.
Robert, everything is upside down in the Big 12 right now.
Oklahoma State put their foot down today.
Absolutely. I suppose we could wind up with the Nebraska-Oklahoma State Big 12 championship the last year down in Dallas. Bedlam is in Stillwater on Thanksgiving weekend. And here is Taylor, the running back for the Cardinal. Probably Jim Harbaugh now, taking a page out of Bo Schembechler's book, will probably try to bring that clock down. Now, one thing Harbaugh has that Bo didn't always have is a quarterback like Andrew Luck. Obviously, Jim was an exception. I think when Jim went to the NFL, it had been a long time before any Michigan quarterback had made a roster. I think I remember that.
I think he kind of started a good string there.
It did.
And Michael Taylor come in after him, who was more of an option quarterback, and Demetrius Brown. But after that, Elvis Gerback and the rest of down the line.
Second down and 8. And this will be third down and long after Fleener. This will be about third down and 6, I believe, coming up here from about the 34-yard line, Herbie.
Going back to our point earlier about the importance of the Arizona defense getting to 3 and out, getting good field position. At least they put 3 on the board. Remember that Arizona declined or deferred in the coin toss. They won the coin toss, deferred. They get the ball to start the second half. So you look at the clock, you look at a third down situation. It's an opportunity for Arizona's defense to see if they can step up and try to get pressure on Andrew Luck. See if they can get the ball back to Nick Foles before the half.
A late defensive substitution. Third down and 6. There's a penalty flag, incomplete. Owusu couldn't get the handle on it, but there's a penalty flag because there was pressure that time. And Ricky Elmore was able to get in there. Remember, they're trying to get these defensive ends, try to get him in on that quarterback, and they cause a holding penalty here. So a little disruption being called
offense,
now.
Number 72. Penalty is declined. Fourth down.
Well, that happened in the middle with the center Chase Beeler, but you're right, the ends. And that's what we talked about. Third down, can the ends get to the quarterback Luck before he's able to find his man? He wanted to go to Chris Owusu, who was matched up again with Trevin Wade. Wade slipped, fell down. Luckily for Wade, Anthony Wilcox stepped up as a safety to help out on Owusu. But anyway, there was the holding call.
Herbie, that's a second straight 3 and out now for the defense. So the Wildcats starting to come alive here. And here's Bug Wright, big hop. Just going to let it roll dead, and it's inside the 20-yard line. Coming up, of course, on the Capital One halftime report, John and Jesse will have all the day's big highlights and major stories developing. Herbie, you want to explain the Big Ten championship to me? Can you?
I think the Ohio State-Iowa game on the 20th obviously is going to go a long way in determining, is it potentially an Ohio State, Michigan State, Wisconsin three-way tie, assuming Michigan State and Wisconsin win out, or is it an Iowa, Michigan State, and Wisconsin tie? But then you can, I'll explain it to you. It's very sophisticated.
That's good.
But the BCS standings, at the end of the day, if you have a three-way tie, we'll settle it.
Got it. 4:08 to go in the half. Dantlin back in as the running back. Here he comes for the Wildcats behind the left side. tonight, and we check in down below with Aaron.
Brent, when the offense was over on the sideline over here for Arizona, the offensive line was very, very emotional, actually even screaming to each other that they didn't have the call, particularly on the 3rd and 3. They grabbed Nick Foles, they brought him over, and they told him, you have to give us the call. You have to communicate with us and tell us what's going on.
Interesting. 3:42. And here comes Antolin trying to swing wide. He slips. He is down at the 22-yard line. Kaiser was there. You know, Herbie, I think one point we have to make about, as we've watched that sideline, very volatile for Arizona, Mike Stoops had to replace both of his coordinators this year. Not the easiest thing to do. His brother, Mark Stoops, now down at Florida State. And, of course, Dykes moved down to the head coach at Louisiana Tech. So we got all brand new coordinators with this team. And before the season started, some people said may not be as easy as Mike Stoops thinks to bring new coordinators in.
It's tough to lose one, let alone two. It makes you become a little bit more hands-on as a head coach.
Now Foles trying to throw for first down, deflected, incomplete. Arizona forced a punt. Travis Cobb, the intended receiver.
Arizona now 1 of 6 on 3rd down, and it's the second time the last 2 series that they've dropped the ball. A.J. Simmons, the tight end, dropped a pass, and now Cobb ends up dropping a pass that both times would have been first downs.
Now Andrew Luck and Jim Harbaugh with plenty of time to operate here. Close to 3 minutes, and they're going to wind up with a short field, you would figure. Terrell is back. Cryer punting. Here's Terrell. Jitterbugs, breaks free, midfield. Down to the 35-yard line with 2:37 to go. Stanford with 2 timeouts.
And if Jamari Roberts, his own man, doesn't make this tackle, Brent, I think he might have been able to take this into the end zone. Great open field awareness, be able to pick up a few blocks, and there's his own man. Roberts helps bring him down, but a huge return nonetheless gets him deep into Arizona territory.
26 yards on that return, and Harbaugh with the offense huddling around him. Remember now, Arizona was 2 consecutive 3-and-outs. But they'll be hard-pressed here from this field position. From the 35, Wilkerson had a 39-yard run. The freshman checks back into the Stanford backfield. Toss play to him. Marisek, one of the blockers, and this time he is held to about 3 yards.
Big Jonathan Martin, the left tackle, leading the way out there with Marisek. Arizona pretty fortunate to be able to get through those blocks and hold Taylor to only a 3-yard gain.
6 substitutions come in offensively, and they run the toss play to the right. They come back the other side with the young man from Foothill Ranch, California, Anthony Wilcox, up defensively for Arizona. And the Wildcat defense has suddenly come alive a little bit now. They've got him in a 3rd down here again, Herbie.
And they're doing a good job. Stanford wants to run the football to the outside. They try to outflank you and get to the edge and be able to pick yards up down the sideline. But Arizona's speed here and the adjustments they've made, they're not giving up that alley down the sideline.
Ertz goes out far to the left.
Watch Owusu down at the bottom there.
Now ruling into the slot. Luck back in the gun on this 3rd down. There's Luck on the option. Owusu wide open. Into the red zone. And the stop is made by Robert Golden. Saved a touchdown.
Sure did. And Owusu on 3rd down, you just have to be able to spot him. And typically he's going out for a pass. This time, this is what they do. They'll save it for a big 3rd down. A big 3rd down. They'll run the zone read. Ricky Elmore, the defensive end, collapsed down. And this is what Andrew Luck brings to this offense. It's a pro-style offense. He can attack in many ways, but they throw this in as a wrinkle on key 3rd down situations, makes the proper read, and then pitches it out to Owusu for the 1st down.
And now we'll see Luck attack the end zone here. 1:33 to go. That's Marisek, 48 in motion. Long handoff to Wilkerson, the freshman. He's got the corner. 1st and goal. Stoops wants holding on the play.
I don't know about the holding call, but some outstanding blocking. And I love this true freshman, Anthony Wilkerson. But watch how these big linemen move. First of all, the tight end Rulin does a good job at a point of attack on the edge. And that's where they want to get to the outside. They want to outflank you. And he picks up another good block from DeCastro.
Late substitution. Taylor back in as the running back. Clock is running. Got the edge. Touchdown, Stanford. Arizona was changing personnel. And Stanford got up to the line, got the play called, and ran for the touchdown. Their third of the first half. Now Nate Whitaker. Is 21-3. Taylor's second touchdown of the night. So the kickoff is out of the end zone.
Oh, what an impressive drive. Arizona just took control of things up front. You'd think they'd be in a little bit of a hurry up, but look at the confusion again with Arizona. Stanford doing a good job mixing in their personnel groupings. Arizona struggling to make the adjustments, let alone trying to defend the play. You can see Reed running in there late to be able to try to stop that play, but once again they get outflanked and give up the easy touchdown to the edge.
Antolin on the field, 1:18 to go here. Arizona with a couple of timeouts. Trailing at 21-3. Throws that screen to Kreiner.
Of course, Foles thinking, let's try to get into field goal range. Let's try to get points. Still 2 timeouts, a minute to go here.
You know, we've had several slippages on this field, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. Looked like I thought Douglas might have.
And he still might have, actually.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Like he lost his balance and may have tweaked something there.
He intended to there. With a third down coming up.
When we came into this game with Nick Foles coming back, he's missed the last 2 games. One of the things that I thought Arizona was going to try to capitalize on, Brent, was Foles and his receivers against the Stanford secondary. First half so far, 43 yards passing.
Right.
43 yards. I mean, this is an Arizona offense that was trying to take advantage of some matchups and only have 43 yards. That's something that I think you'll see them not only because they're trailing, but they've got to win some matchups on the perimeter of the Stanford defense. But Vic Fangio doing a great job of putting that pressure on Nick Foles.
Got a 3rd and 2 and just inside of a minute. First down and out of bounds, stops the clock and the first down. Terrence Miller, number 87 there, spins out of bounds and 5 seconds are used.
And that is only the second 3rd down conversion for Arizona. 2 of 7 so far here in this first half.
Foles has time. Dropped.
It's the third.
45-yard line. How many drops is that?
It's at least 3 in the last 3 series. This time it's Dave Roberts who drops the ball. Arizona with 1 timeout. Obviously, in college football, you got to get out of bounds or you got to get to the first down marker. They're throwing everything underneath, which is exactly what Stanford wants.
Dropped again. That time is Miller. Here's 3rd and 10. 43 seconds. Complete for a first down to the 45-yard line. Dave Roberts.
Barry Browning, the true freshman, had a potential big hit here to be able to disrupt this play, and he ended up going a little bit low, and good focus there by Roberts.
Foles incomplete. So with 34 seconds, and remember they've got a game breaker in number 82, Kreiner. If they can somehow get him open, he's down at the bottom of your screen right now. Herbie mentioned Browning. The freshman is the corner across from him. The time running out, of course, he's given him a big cushion. Now he tightens up on it.
You see the safety behind there, Skullful. They're aware of that same thing. Brent concerned about that speed.
Foles has got it in a seam to the 26-yard line. Clock will stop. 29 seconds.
The motion ended up bringing the safety up, and then they got the matchup that you wanted, Brent, there. One-on-one matchup, and they found Kreiner.
Quick snap to Foles. Pump fake right. Now comes back. Got an open man. Throws an interception. Picked off by Richard Sherman. Sherman was sitting right there, and there's a flag on the play, so hang on.
Maybe a horse collar possibly on the tackle. Just to put things in perspective, you've never seen Nick Foles play coming into tonight. He's missed 2 games, but nonetheless, 75% passer. And he is struggling. 10 of 21, 87 yards, and that interception.
There is no foul on the play for a horse collar tackle. The tackle was legal. First down.
Foles back on that phone to Seth Luttrell upstairs.
And I thought he was going to call fair catch. Sherman's just waiting for this. It's like being a shortstop and the ball's hit right to you. Sometimes that's the toughest play to make. Sherman makes the interception, gives Stanford the football back, but kills another opportunity for Arizona.
And I believe that Mike begs to disagree, as Harbaugh and Luck run the clock out here on the first half, and they'll take this 21-3 lead into the locker room to a big ovation. Andrew Luck, 15 of 20 for 163 yards. Let's go to Aaron Andrews with Coach Stoops.
First of all, there seems to be some miscommunication. Guys not getting out on the field on time. Guys not getting the call. What do you say to get this team regrouped back together in the locker room?
Well, Stanford does a great job with formations. They get guys in and out. It's complicated getting guys lined up. But ultimately, we've been our own worst enemy. Drop balls, didn't convert a couple times down in the red zone, and that's been really our Achilles heel most of the year. When we get down there not finishing drives against Stanford, you got to score points.
And Nick Foles obviously struggling after missing those 2 games. What do you attribute his struggles to tonight?
Well, Nick is, he's a little rusty, but again, I thought he got good rhythm. I thought we dropped 3 or 4 balls, and you can't do that in a game like this. So we made way too many mistakes. Gave them good field position. You can't give them a short field.
All right, thanks. Brent.
Aaron, thank you. And right now, let's send it to the Times Square studio to John Saunders and Jesse Palmer for the Capital One halftime report. To 3, Andrew Luck and the Stanford Cardinal with the lead, and it was Luck's 45-yard touchdown pass to Chris Owosu as we take a look at tonight's Southwest Airlines playbook. that ignited this Stanford offense. And in Herbie, the surprise element was the performance of their defense.
Yeah, Vic Fangio, the defensive coordinator from Stanford, doing a great job at dialing up enough blitzes to confuse the Arizona offensive line. And an Arizona team that averages 300 yards a game through the air, only 87 yards in the first half.
So the Wildcats will have the first possession here. Nate Whitaker with the ball on the tee, and we are underway with the second half. Travis Cobb cuts back to the middle. Good return man. Flanks the coverage team to the 25-yard line, and now the question is, can Arizona settle in here offensively against that defense that you just talked about?
The adjustments, I'm sure, with Seth Luttrell, the offense coordinator, is about protection. They've got to give Nick Foles a chance. He can't get the ball thrown downfield. Only 2 of 8 of passes that are 5 yards or more down the field. Doesn't have time to throw. They can't execute. And Jerron Kreiner's going to have to find a way to get into the open field and make some plays against his Stanford secondary. But if Foles doesn't have time to throw, it's irrelevant.
So Nick Foles, after a 2-week absence, Antolin gets the first call, and he picks up 4 yards as we take a look at our Pacific Life game summary here at Stanford tonight. And there's the comparison to the 2 quarterbacks.
Andrew Luck in sync, 15 of 20, 163 yards. What doesn't show up is the command and the way he's been in total control. And Foles, not only the numbers, but remember, this is the #1 passing offense in the Pac-10. See if they can catch fire here in the second half.
Long handoff to Antolin. And this will be 3rd down and 5 coming up. He's met pretty solidly at the line of attack. Howell coming up from his safety spot in on that stop.
Brett, we talked in the open about Nick Foles missing the last 2 games and how, he's got to go the distance. Matt Scott has not been able to play. He's not even dressed tonight. And he's kind of provided a spark to the running game the last 2 weeks. And with Foles in there, they don't have that dimension of running the football from the quarterback.
Bernard checks into that secondary. Foles fires for the first down. Converts a 3rd down here to start the second half, and the ball goes out to the 40 with Kreiner.
They converted a 3rd down, and they held on to the football on 3rd down. Now Foles is going to hurry up here.
Kreiner with 4 catches for 50, and there was a whistle prior to that Kreiner catch.
It's one thing to hurry up, but you got to make sure your people are lined up before you snap the football. I think Kreiner may not even been lined up. There's a lot of confusion actually on both sides of the football there. That must be one of the adjustments that Mike Stoops and his staff.
Dead ball. False start. Offense number 82. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
We saw USC last week when they played Oregon do a little bit of hurry up, and one time it led to a touchdown, another time it backfired. Arizona is starting this second half trying to do a little bit of the same thing, something they didn't show the entire first half.
So 1st down and 15 for Foles and the Wildcats. Kreiner comes in motion. They would love to get him on that H-back spot matched against a linebacker. He's blocking for the running back this time, and it will be 2nd down and long. Matafilo making the stop defensively on Nahuko. Slow to get up is Tatogi.
That's Stanford defensive line, and that time both their outside linebackers walked up close to the line of scrimmage. Kaiser one side, Chase Thomas on the other. Completely negated Arizona's ability to run the football there.
2nd and 16, and Foles incomplete. Yeah, that was intended for Roberts.
This offense usually is in better sync. I mean, I don't know if they're just really confused because of the blitzes and the different looks, but right now they're not executing to the level that you expect an Arizona offense to execute in the passing game.
3rd down and 16. Single safety for Foles.
Timeout, Stanford. Their first charge timeout of the half.
A little bit of confusion in that secondary. And I think Jim wants to know what happened upstairs. You can see that Sherman over there in discussion. And Bernard, the youngster, had checked in as we check in with our Sony big picture of the day. No story bigger than what unfolded in Salt Lake City. TCU, a BCS buster, blowing out Utah. Number 3 all over number 5. And then how about LSU and the Mad Hatter upsetting Alabama in Baton Rouge, and Joe Pa with his 400th win coming from behind to beat Northwestern in Happy Valley and to carry the old coach off the field.
Great to see Joe Paterno get his 400th second week in a row. The Penn State offense really showing some things. Up front, the offensive line playing well. Matt McGloin stepped up second week in a row. They go to Columbus next week for a big showdown with Ohio State, who had an off week this week.
I wonder if you'll now be there when he wins his 500. Third down now, coming up. Foles needs to reach the 49-yard line of the Cardinal. In trouble. Sacked. Down at the 25. Sione Fua from Encino, California. The big 306-pound nose man all over him.
This time it's not a blitz, Brent, necessarily, and Foles is coming off a little bit slow there. And it's not necessarily a blitz, but just a little bit of a stunt on the inside. Masafilo, who had 2 sacks last week, occupies a couple of the blockers on that stunt, and Fua ends up getting in there and bringing down Foles once again.
Foles is shaken up, and remember, Herbie told us Matt Scott not able to play tonight because of a wrist injury. So Bernie is the backup over there. Here comes Terrell signaling for a fair catch. Ball will be spotted at the 24-yard line when you come back. Stanford's domination continuing here. Herbie, clearly Nick Foles jams this left shoulder here on his teammate Adam Grant.
Well, and this is a young man who's taken a lot of hits this year, battling, of course, back from the knee injury, missed the last 2 weeks. I agree, Brandon. It wasn't necessarily the hit late, but I think before that he showed some pain, some obvious pain there. But Aaron Andrews, hearing Nick Foles down in the field, say, hey, I'm okay. I can keep going.
So Taylor checks in as the Stanford running back, gets the first call, and picks up maybe a yard.
Luck right now has really been in sync. First half, he ended up 16 of 20, 163 yards. This is probably his greatest strength, the thing that the NFL loves, the pocket presence, the way he's able to just move around, catch enough time to be able to make a throw, and then he anticipates incredibly well. You got to remember, he's only a redshirt sophomore. But yet he's able to anticipate. He found Owusu there on that big third down and threw it into double coverage, but found the opening and threw him the football where he could make a play on it.
Second down and long. Drops it off. Basically a check down pass, and a first down picked up by Taylor. So he looked downfield first. The deep men were covered, and he just checked it down with his running back and wound up with a first down.
Yeah, Robert Golden, the corner, off to Andrew Luck's right side. And you can see he started on his left, then he looked down the middle of the field. Everybody was occupied with the defender, so he ends up a simple little throw, a check down. But a lot of times, young college quarterbacks still hang in there with that throw downfield, and they'll end up throwing it into coverage. Little check down, get it to a back in space, and he can make people miss.
16 of 21. Here tonight. He's thrown for 1 touchdown, no interceptions. Taylor sprints out to the right, and he has got the corner to the 45-yard line, and another Stanford first down.
Derek Hall, the right tackle. Also the big tight end, Kobe Fleener. Some great blocks on the right side, and you have got to respect the cutback ability in this zone blocking scheme of Stanford and the vision that we've seen Stephon Taylor grow with this year. Even though it's a tailback by committee trying to replace Toby Gerhart, Taylor has really emerged, and that time uses his vision and quickness to get to the outside.
16 yards, 38 for the game. Owusu's got 5 passes for 79. First and 10 across midfield. complete, and still another first down as he hits Conrad Rulin, the senior tight end from Mission Viejo, California, down Southern California way.
This is a good route, and he knows as a tight end, a little outcut, the ball's going to be in the air. You got to be able to make a catch, especially you're going up against a corner, Robert Golden. How about the offensive line? Outstanding job there holding up. They've only given up 3 sacks all year coming into tonight, and he steps right up into the pocket and makes a great throw.
Want to take a guess as to how many states are represented on the Stanford Cardinal roster? You just want to throw a number out there for me?
I noticed all 5 of the offensive linemen are from different states. I'll say 20.
You're close. 28. Can you imagine that? 28 different states represented by this roster. Owusu, he's from California, one of the many youngsters from California. But Herbie mentioned that offensive line. Folks, they're from left to right. Los Angeles, California, Darnestown, Maryland, Jenks, Oklahoma, Bellevue, Washington, and Overland Park, Kansas. Second down and 1. To Taylor back in as the running back. Taylor barges right ahead for that first down. David DeCastro, the right guard, leading the way. He's the young man from Bellevue, Washington. You wonder about this team and how far they can go. Obviously, they trail Oregon, and the Ducks, remember, would have to lose twice because Stanford's loss in the conference was up to Oregon. And remember, the Big Ten would go to the Rose Bowl if they don't make the championship. But if the Pac-10 makes the BCS championship, then the Rose Bowl is obligated to take the highest ranking BCS buster if they qualify. But Stanford could wind up very well in the at-large pool with the other conferences. And here is Taylor slashing across the 15-yard line. And, of course, Herbie, that Sugar Bowl, Orange Bowl. Who knows where this team could wind up if they can run the table.
Yeah, and it's a football team that we saw them against Oregon where they jumped out to a big lead early in that game in Eugene. To the Ducks' credit, they were able to fight back and take a lead. But when you have Andrew Luck, you've got a veteran football team around him. They're dangerous. They're a legitimate team. I thought they'd be challenged a little bit more from Arizona. This game's not over, but so far they've been in complete control of the game.
Herbie Gaffney comes back in, one of 5 different running backs used by Jim Harbaugh here tonight. Play action. Luck drops it off. And this will be a first and goal with Owusu again. And what a night number 81 is having for Stanford.
Owusu gives him a different look. There he is in motion, a little play action. By the way, Andrew Luck has not missed a pass tonight when he's thrown play action. And Owusu gives this offense the spark that I think they missed that night that they played against the Oregon Ducks.
Gaffney gets the handoff. And then he has stood up at the 5. Owusu was knocked out of that Oregon game in the second half. And when you talk to the coaches, that was the biggest play of the game. The Ducks returned it to the 3-yard line. Remember, Stanford led in that game in the first half 21-3, and then could not stop the Ducks in the second half, especially after Owusu was knocked out of the game, and that fumble gave him a first and goal. So checking the center's hand. The many plays of Jim Harbaugh and the many formations that make it difficult for any defensive coordinator. Second down and goal. And there is that inside shuttle pass for a touchdown, Gaffney.
Brett, Owusu is creating so much attention. They see him going in motion. They're thinking, okay, let's check Owusu. They're going to try to get the ball to him. And what a well-designed play. They dump it back underneath the Gaffney, and some great blocking downfield that time by Derek Hall on one side and Andrew Phillips on the other. That offensive line, they just work together very well as a unit.
And, of course, the other big question that Stanford has about Jim Harbaugh, can they keep him as a head coach? Will another college program in the Midwest, perhaps, or even the National Football League come after him? Well, we'll talk about that later.
Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. The new Ford F-150. Visit bcstailgate.com for your chance to win the ultimate tailgate F-150. And Dr. Pepper. There's nothing like a pepper.
Well, Herbie, that's the SLAC National Accelerator Laboratory. That's home to a 2-mile linear accelerator. Folks, that's how we're going to figure out the BCS. There's the formula. Now, right there.
BC2.
Get your
your
pencil and paper out, and there it is. You can figure it out.
That's
tonight.
easy. Easy.
Marisek is the only player down here who can explain that to me.
And Brad Edwards.
Here is Cobb. Picks it up on the 5. They fake that reverse off of it, and Cobb breaks out to the 35. So we want to show you the projections if the season ended today, okay, which would mean Oregon and Auburn are number 1 and 2. Let's put them in the championship down the bottom, in Glendale on the 10th. Let's start with the Rose Bowl. Wisconsin, because they're the highest ranking of the BCS right now, against TCU. Remember, the Rose Bowl is obligated to go in that direction. Projecting Nebraska as the 7th to win the Big 12. They choose last, so that'd be the Big East champion against them. Virginia Tech in the Orange Bowl, the projected winner right now of the ACC, and they would have a host. So when we get down to the orange and the sugar, that's where Stanford could enter into discussion if they cannot pass Oregon. Let me go back one more time. Oklahoma right now, even though they're struggling, and remember, this is all going to change tomorrow when BCS rankings come out. And then we've got LSU has replaced Alabama in the Sugar Bowl against those Buckeyes, and there is Kleiner.
Who picked the at-large teams there? Was that you? Were you the czar? Oh, it was a vote?
We voted.
Okay.
No. We picked them according to the numbers.
Okay.
On the BCS rankings, okay? This is what it would look like. We don't project ourselves into it as much as we can, and, it's just a reminder that these... Kleiner's shaking up over there. And so let us go to Robert Flores in the studio in New York. Robert, what do you got for us?
All right, Brandon, we talk about TCU. Their quarterback, Andy Dalton, nominee for the AT&T All-America Player of the Week. 3 touchdowns, 355 yards as TCU hands Utah their first loss. You can text VOTE to 345-345 to take part for a chance at a trip to the national title.
All right, Robert, thank you very much. Terrence Miller here receiving that pass. And now we go a little bit of a hurry up here with Nick Foles trying to move things along. But what a loss that would be, Herbie, if they can't get 82.
It's their go-to guy, the guy that can really separate from traffic.
Here's Cobb. And he's short of the 30. And so with this hurry up starting to move the ball here against this Stanford defense. The hurry up does one thing. It freezes Fangio a little bit when it comes to all of his defensive substitutions. If they keep moving the ball down the field, Nahuko with a strong run, barging across the 20 to the red zone.
Seems like Nahuko's the only back tonight for Arizona that's been able to pick up some decent yards.
Quickly, they've got a first down and 10. And there is that quick pass to Douglas, and Douglas trying to make his way into the end zone. Looks like he stepped out of bounds back there.
Not only is this slowing down Stanford with this hurry up, but it's the first time we've seen Arizona look like they're not thinking too much. They're just going out and playing aggressively.
Here comes the blitz. Nahuko again. He's got a first and goal from Herbie. So just what you say, he'll put his nose down in there and get some tough yards for him.
He's 6'2", 220, but it's nice to see Nick Foles is not thinking as much. He's not back there. He's kind of getting into a rhythm, snap that football, and try to execute.
See what he can do on that screen. Touchdown, Kreiner back on the field. Just in time to score. Where's that been all night?
Well, that is an outstanding job, not just by Nick Foles getting this team up to the line of scrimmage and doing what they need to do, but 8 plays, 65 yards, and more importantly, 1 minute and 31 seconds off the clock as they go down there and score that touchdown.
This is not automatic for Zendejas. He is 30 of 33. He's missed 3 extra points this year. There's a field goal here tonight. And he tacks that one on perfectly. 28-10. Arizona trying to hurry their way back into this Pac-10 showdown. So we welcome you back to Stanford with Aaron Andrews and Kirk Herbstreit. I'm Brent Musburger. 28-10. Cardinal leading the Wildcats here. 5:45 left in the third. And an impressive hurry-up drive by Arizona results in their first touchdown of the night. And here comes Owusu to the 22-yard line. Well, talk about hard hitting here. We got NASCAR. Only 3 races left in the chase. Closest chase in history. Jimmy Johnson, Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick. Any of those 3 can win it. Texas is always exciting. NASCAR Sprint Cup continues there at 3 Eastern on ESPN, presented by GoDaddy.com. I'm going Jimmy. Can't shake him this year.
I'm going Jimmy Johnson. He's going to hold on. Yeah. Nick Foles did exactly what he needed to do. 5 of 5. Now that's the offense, and that's the kind of execution you're used to seeing. But the hurry up provided that spark that the Wildcats needed.
Looks like he's still trying to keep the left shoulder.
Yeah.
You know, last week as we watched Stanford here with Andrew Luck, and he has Taylor as his running back. There was a comments picked up by Jim Harbaugh, who thought he was talking privately to his team after the game, and certainly out here along the Pacific, you may have seen some of these comments. You know, and he was referring to the Pete Carroll coaching staff, part of them in Washington. And so I asked Jim if he'd called the coaches in question and spoken to them, and here's what he said.
I called both Coach Sarkisian and Coach Kiffin, and just explained the nature of you know, what was being discussed with the team.
Said it was a private conversation, not intended for public use. And now breaking free is Owusu in a foot race. And Joe Perkins able to get him out of bounds, Herbie.
Well, he's coming up a little bit limp there. He's battled through some injuries this entire year. He had a MCL sprain to one of his knees in camp. He had a thumb injury against USC. But when he's in this lineup, Brent, it just provides a difference maker for Andrew Luck in this ground game, and how physical they like to get with the big tight ends in the running game. You get the ball out to Owusu on the perimeter, he can make people miss and get downfield in a hurry.
132 yards.
Yeah, he's had a great game. You know, that comment by Jim Harbaugh, if we posted comments that coaches say to their team privately, people would be shocked to hear what coaches say. That's a private moment. Coaches can say what they need to say.
First down and 10. And Luck with the play action. Fires incomplete and out of bounds. And Herbie, let me echo that. You are 100% right. And folks, let me tell you, that one was mild.
Oh, my gosh. Absolutely. It was more factual than anything.
It was factual. That's the other thing about Harbaugh. You know, he was right on the money.
Coaches, that was his way of congratulating them.
And of course, Sarkisian said publicly, listen, if you beat somebody 41 to whatever it was.
If he held a press conference after the game and said that, then you could say, what? Right. He said, what? Because when I first heard the quotes, I thought he went to the media.
So did I.
But then when they said, no, somebody heard him talking to his team, I thought.
Well, they were outside, apparently, a curtain that was closed. And Jim thought it was a private conversation. And one of the writers decided that it wasn't. And then, of course, everybody has to pick it up from there. And Adam Hall in there defensively. We talked about Jim Harbaugh, and I asked him if he would go to another college if it was offered, or the NFL, and he said, my dad and Bo Schembechler both taught me you worry only about the job you've got.
Well, I'll worry for him. If the Michigan job opens up, he'll be the head coach in Ann Arbor. That's just my opinion.
That's opinion now.
That's my opinion.
That's opinion.
Yes, not a fact.
And here is Stewart.
It's a big third down here.
Third down and 9. There's a first down. Baldwin. And Baldwin crashes into the red zone here, Herbie, for Stanford.
Well, Richardson is in man-to-man coverage against a very athletic and quick Doug Baldwin, but they brought the house. And the Stanford offensive line, once again, great communication. And if Andrew Luck has time to throw against this secondary, he's going to make them pay.
And here's the handoff again. And Stewart gets the carry to the 10-yard line. 5 different running backs employed by Harbaugh and Stanford here tonight.
Well, this is a tough offense that you don't see very often. So many spread offenses, the finesse. These guys are going to attack you in different ways. They've got the finesse as part of their package, but they're going to really test your manhood and find out how you can hold up for 4 quarters as they run downhill right into the teeth of a defense.
That's really something when the quarterback gets that center's wrist up there and flips it open. Gets the play called to everybody because the plays are very complex. A lot of terminology. just before he's out of bounds, and he throws that one away. Incomplete.
You know, Brent, with his speed, and I know he's looking to throw the football, and you could see, I think he's got the speed here to get to the corner and be able to go and be able to pick up probably the first down. He's kind of waiting and holding off to see if his tight end clears behind in the backside of coverage to Kobe Fleener. But that defense bit down so hard on the play action that with his speed, I think he could have gotten that first down pretty easily.
You think so?
Yeah.
I thought it would be close, but, you know.
He hesitated, and I think that gave Arizona's defense a little bit of a better chance to get in position.
Well, here comes Taylor now. This is a 3rd and 3. And this time he does run, does keep it. And remember, he burned Washington repeatedly, and now that gives Stanford a 1st and goal.
Well, he averages 8 yards a carry. So when they hold it when they really need it. The second time we've seen it tonight when they've needed it on a 3rd down. One time he ran, another time he pitched to Owusu. This time he runs it again, and he's just dangerous enough that if you don't respect his speed, he's going to make you pay for it, and he can pick up 1st downs.
Marisic is the fullback. They sometimes will run the dive play down here. There is Marisic, and Marisic barrels toward that goal line. Got very close to it. That's an old Schembechler play. Jim, do you have a fullback? Jim, do you have a tight end? That's good, Jim.
And Jim,
watch Marisic here now.
You gotta get once in a while feed the big fella, right?
Absolutely. Look at this.
He's in there hammering his head into the linebackers all night. Once in a while, let him get his hands on the football.
Now here comes McGillicuddy.
Wherever he is where they're running.
McGillicuddy is over there, 87, circling Herbie, so everybody sees this big fella. There they go, and Taylor cuts off it for the touchdown. Headed right over behind number 87 and cut in for the score.
I was almost going to circle the left guard, Andrew Phillips, because you knew he was going to come around to pick up a block too. You know, when they get inside that 5-yard line, chances are if they're not going to try to keep Marisic happy with a little carry, they're going to run that power play. It was a big answer by Stanford just when it looked like Arizona might get back into this game and get a little bit of momentum. Came right back down and put a 78-yard, 10-play drive together.
3rd rush touchdown of the night for Stephon Taylor from Mansfield, Texas. Whitaker, the transfer from Notre Dame, has the extra point.
And this is the matchup that they liked. Just the size, the big tight ends, and the left guard pulling around. This is the power play that they kind of hang their hat on. It's unbalanced, strength to the right. When you bring the left guard around, Andrew Phillips, it's just another big body for the defense to deal with.
I'm going to throw one other thing out about Harbaugh, just to... If I'm an NFL owner, I'm very interested in him.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's one of the several college coaches that we see. Remember now, his brother, the very successful head coach of the Baltimore Ravens. They're very competitive, the brothers. And I honestly think he's going to have a tremendous decision to make about his career. He runs a pro-style attack. That is quite clear. In fact, if you can get Andrew Luck to go with him, he goes a package deal.
Can't we keep him in college? I'd rather see him stick around in college because I don't know. I think you're right. He runs a pro system. 15 years in the NFL as a quarterback. He learned a lot of things at that level. But he's got one of those personalities that's kind of confrontational and kind of fun, in the college game.
Kind of like his mentor, Schembechler. Here's Travis Cobb back at the 2. And he's out to the 23. Let's go back to New York. Robert Flores. Robert, Sports Center right now.
Right, Brent, presented by Discover at the Breeders' Cup Classic. Zenyatta falls to blame by a head, ending her great career at 19-1. Texas A&M is leading Oklahoma 33-19 in the 4th quarter. Ryan Tannehill to Ryan Swope, 64 yards. If this score holds true, Oklahoma State now in the driver's seat in the Big 12 South.
Yeah, exactly, Robert. And Oklahoma State put up a big number. How many yards of offense?
Over 700 yards of offense today. For an offense that was replacing a new quarterback this year, lost Des Bryant.
Now comes Foles back, and it is complete, and Kreiner is lit up on that sideline. What a hit by Howell here.
And what a good job of holding on to the football by Kreiner. Ball floated in the air on Foles and gave Howell plenty of time. Clean hit. Kreiner holds on to the football. Scored the touchdown. Comes back after. Looked like he had a bit of an ankle injury to make these 2 plays.
105. Hamlin. Good run after the catch. He swung out of the backfield. Howell again.
Foles, of course, hurrying this offense up to the line of scrimmage. Kreiner again, top of the screen, trying to help out the running back. He's going to turn and try to get a block on Barry Browning, the freshman. He drives it 10 yards downfield.
Across the 35, threw high that time, incomplete. His receiver, Dave Roberts, sat down and threw it up over his head.
These last 2 drives are the only time that we've been able to see Arizona get into any kind of rhythm and kind of get this offense in sync with this hurry up.
Second down and 10. Comes right back to the left side to Kreiner.
You can see he's fighting through it looks like some kind of lower leg injury. You would assume maybe an ankle that's slowing him down, but he's going to fight through it and try to help his team get back in this game.
He has a 93-yard night as a receiver. Owusu for Stanford, 132-yard night. Anlin breaks free in the red zone. First down and goal coming up for Arizona.
And Brent, they're not completely abandoning the running game. And Antlin gets upfield and with such suddenness, you have to get him the football.
Second down.
Incredible acceleration in that backfield to go along with this rhythm passing game of Nick Foles. Defense gets so locked in on trying to take away these 4 wide receivers that he gets upfield and quick in a hurry.
Little screen to the outside that time to Kreiner. Trying to get a blocker in front of him. In the final seconds here, ticking away on quarter number 3. Andrew Luck with 2 touchdown passes and 260 yards. Foles with 1 touchdown pass and 189 yards. And Foles trying to strike again. He didn't know the ball was coming. Picked it up on a bounce. And Antolin is stopped just across the 5-yard line, and this could have been a disaster. Watch.
Yeah, ball bounces right off his right shoulder. He's pretty fortunate the ball just hopped up right back up to him, so he could at least try to get it out there to Antolin to try to pick up that first down. Avoided disaster there.
The third quarter comes to an end, and when you come back, it'll be 4th down coming up for Arizona. They trail at 35-10. This presentation of Saturday Night Football, presented by Southwest Airlines, returns after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Well, tune in ESPN tomorrow at 8:15 and see what the new projections are going to be like when the BCS rankings are revealed next Sunday night. That's tomorrow, 8:15 on ESPN. Here we got 4th and 4 now for this Arizona offense. Nanolin is alongside Foles. Douglas comes through the formation. Foles incomplete. Cardinal football. Pressure was coming, and they were able to deflect that ball, Herbie.
Yeah, that's what we've seen a lot tonight. You can see Kreiner matched up one-on-one with Sherman is exactly what he wanted to try to take advantage of, but Thomas Kaiser coming with the pressure does a good job. When you can't get there, get your arms up and try to bat the football down. And Thomas Kaiser, one of the leaders of this team, great play, great awareness.
Now Taylor comes in as the running back here. You can see that fired up Stanford sideline. 412 yards of offense. And here comes Taylor, battling his way for 2-3 yards. Heroes makes the stop as we take a look Herbie, once again at our Pacific Life game summary.
Yeah, and the main story to me has been that Andrew Luck has had time to throw. Arizona clearly came into this game with a determination defensively to stop the balance of Stanford in their running game, and it's put Luck in a position to have the big night. He's had plenty of time to throw, and when he's had that, his wide receivers have really gone after this Arizona secondary.
260 yards passing for Luck, 2 touchdowns tonight, and no interceptions. Handing off here to Taylor. Working on the clock a little bit here early in the 4th quarter. Vassallo making the stop for Wildcats. And that'll put him in a 3rd down situation.
You were talking about the BCS standings earlier, Brent. You start thinking about one-loss teams, and Alabama almost by default has been that team until they lost today to LSU. Start to think about teams with 1 loss who could try to sneak back up in there. Can you, after watching Stanford again tonight, can you think of another team out there with 1 loss that's more impressive than Stanford? LSU made a great, they made a great point today against Alabama.
Yeah, their loss was at Auburn, and of course Stanford's was at Oregon. There's a touch outside, and going for it, Owusu comes away with it.
So they're manned up again against Owusu, and this time it's the safety, Joe Perkins. And what tremendous effort by Owusu in concentration. They might take a peek at that, but I don't think the nose of the ball touched the ground. Great adjustment by Owusu and the focus to be able to make that catch.
33 yards. The offense comes up to the 41 as they decide to take another look at it here.
The ruling on the field is under review.
The only thing, maybe the nose of the ball, but I'll be shocked if there's anything to turn this over. If it holds up, Owusu now has 9 catches and 165 yards.
Hands under the ball.
I think he had possession.
One corner slipped out on the other side, but did it slip out or were his hands underneath it? You know, slow motion gives you one look and regular speed gives you another one. So we'll let the replay official decide if they've got control on this one. One thing is for sure, the Stanford Cardinal have control of this football game right now, regardless of what happens here. Now, if this one stands, Owusu will have had catches of 45 yards for a touchdown, 37 yards, and then this one of 33. And, of course, that's pending review up there. So, overall, for the night, 9 catches for 165 yards right now, and the one early touchdown that he put up.
And when he is in this lineup, it's just a different offense. It's because of his ability to stretch a defense. It gets back to the basic principles of what Stanford wants to do with the running and the power and the play action and throwing to the tight ends, and everything seems to be within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. And then Owusu has that ability, if you fall asleep, he can stretch the defense and make you pay for it. It's a great compliment to what Jim Harbaugh wants to do with that running game and with Andrew Luck in a play action passing game.
After review, the ruling on the field stands. First down.
So 33 more yards. And a big night. I totally agree with you, Herbie, about Owusu. He makes things so different.
Without him,
I'm glad that he didn't suffer a major injury that night, because he was really lit up in that Oregon game.
Sure was.
Wilkerson now, the freshman you like, has checked into that backfield. Marisek will also be up there, and there's your buddy McGillicuddy, number 87. He says that his goal, please throw me the ball one time. Harbaugh's thought better of that so far. Trust me on that one. And so there is Wilkerson. McGillicuddy, he comes out in jersey number 74 to warm up, folks, and that's got his name on it. But we're never too sure what number he's going to come back out for the game. See, he thinks he's in camouflage. He's 307 pounds and 6'3", and he thinks by changing that number before we won't find him.
It's pretty. He tends to stand out.
You think? Here's Stewart checking in now, running back. High and incomplete. I was over. I didn't get a chance to watch him. Johnny Dawkins was busy with the basketball team, but I've been checking with some Stanford folks around here, and really did a great job of recruiting. So out here in a Pac-10, the team that can make a big-time jump is going to be Stanford. They've got some youngsters who can fight play. And Dawkins, of course, a former star at Duke and a longtime assistant under Mike Krzyzewski, he could have it going. And they love their basketball team here, both men's and women's here at Stanford.
Right. For years, you watch Johnny Dawkins on the bench with Coach K. You wonder if he's ever going to eventually get his job. This must be just a perfect fit for him.
It is. Same kind of academic institution as Duke. Luck going downfield incomplete, and his receiver was double covered that time. Was Baldwin working deep that time? Ryan Hewitt. Let me check that. That was Hewitt.
That offensive line continues to do a good job of giving Luck the time that he needs to be able to make the throw. That time just good coverage downfield by the Wildcats.
Well, with 12:07 to go, Arizona about to get the ball back. David Douglas. He's back deep. And this punt goes out of bounds around the 35-yard line. Stanford in control. I am very envious of my partner Kirk Herbstreit, because on Wednesday night he'll be in Nashville for the Country Music Awards, hosted by Brad Paisley, Carrie Underwood, live Wednesday, November 10th, 7 Central on ABC. Herbert, you and your wife are going to love that show. I know Kenny Chesney is going to be down there. He's going to perform, right?
It'd be great to see Kenny. He is going to perform Boys of Fall. Great single he had this year.
That's great. Nahuko, number 34, continues here at running. Now he's shaken up. Yep, so just remember that.
Now it's about red eyes.
This is true.
It's about catching flights. But yeah.
And, Congress enacted daylight savings time, Herbie. That was back to conserve U.S. resources during World War I and again during the Second World War. And apparently that's where this all started. At least Google told my researchers that, so I'll take their word for it.
Breaking it down.
Antolin gets the handoff and picks up about 3 yards. So the Wildcats need to get something going here quickly. They trail it by 25. Come up without that huddle. Complete. And underneath to Douglas.
You talk about them trying to get something going, and talk about an injury now to a back. Kreiner, I'm looking out there. Kreiner is not in. He looked like he was battling through an ankle injury, but he's not on the field right now.
3rd down and 3. And deflected. Incomplete, and I believe that was Masafilo. Matt Masafilo, young man from Hawaii.
You can only go to this inside slant on 3rd down so many times until the defensive lineman and even the secondary starting to jump that right. Good timing by Masafilo. Even his linebacker Chase Thomas there, knowing that he's been throwing quite a bit on those inside slant routes to try to pick up those short down and distances.
And with the score what it is, Arizona going to go for it here on 4th and 3. Pump fake. Still can't find somebody. Finally does for the 1st down, as Foles was able to check it down that time, and he picked up Roberts.
He was very, very fortunate to be able to have enough time to finally have Roberts break free, and he missed his initial read and receiver who had an opening.
Antolin. So it'll be 2nd down. Operating without a huddle. Foles guns it, and incomplete. Douglas went up in the air for it, and Foles was punished.
Second time we've seen Howe make a move on a ball thrown vertically against this defense. Foles takes the shot, but give Howe credit again for getting over there and knocking that football away. Remember the other time he put a big hit on Jerron Kreiner, who was able to hold on to the football.
Chase Thomas was applying the heat that time. So it's 3rd down and 5 for Arizona. first down, and it was easy. Coverage was very soft on Roberts, and he's close to the 20-yard line.
It was easy because you can see the corner, Bernard, just for whatever reason, right before the snap, he started to bail on the coverage.
Now Foles back again. Guns it to the far side, broken up beautifully by Michael Thomas.
Great play that time by Thomas, probably the most athletic defensive back that they have. Just a great job of jumping that route. It looked like the ball might get in there. Foles really put a lot on it, but Thomas timed that up perfectly.
Second down, a diving effort, incomplete. Jordan rules it incomplete to Miller.
Looks like the official might have thought that Thomas
penalty there too,
pass
right?
interference there, yeah, against Terrence Miller, all over his back.
Jimmy's turn to disagree.
Pass interference. Defense, number 3. Ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
Let's see if Thomas did interfere.
Thomas just made the great play the play before that. Like he got there a little bit early. And with that left arm. Tough to see from that angle.
He was close. Might have gotten up on him a little bit quickly. Foles, first down and 10. All about a 16-yard line. Strike to the outside to Miller. And he's defended by Sherman.
They're trying to do all this again, Brent, without Jerron Kreiner on the field. It's that much tougher for Nick Foles.
Antolin can't break free. And suddenly it's third down. Chase Thomas, number 44, makes the play defensively. So Kreiner watching. Foles guns it. They've got a first and goal. And that was Roberts.
It's the second time we've seen here in the same position over the slot receiver to the left. This time it's Howe. Third down and giving that soft cushion, essentially just giving the easy throw to Foles.
226 yards. Antolin can't get the touchdown. So it'll be second down and goal.
Got to admire the way this game has gone for Arizona. At least they're still fighting. They're trying to get this ball obviously into the end zone and try to somehow get back into the football game.
Bounces the other way and got the touchdown. Let's make sure that he got in, Irby.
Yeah, he bounced off his own lineman who got beaten at the point of attack, Hayes, but I think that second effort by Antolin got him into the end zone. Marisic and also Big Stevens, Terrence Stevens pushing him back there.
So Zendejas for the extra point. (35-17). Stanford with a lead, but Arizona still breathing.
Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. Autotrader.com. Now compare new and used cars side by side at autotrader.com. And John Hancock, the future is yours.
The San Francisco Giants are champions of the baseball world. And Herbie, here's your bonus trivia question. Tim Lincecum was a winning pitcher. What Pac-10 school did he pitch for before becoming a professional?
I got a chance here.
They elected not to have the outside kick. Owosu picks it off for the Cardinal, and he's got an alley on the right side. Owosu to midfield with the kickoff return. Let's give him one more commercial break. Do we have a We do have a flag. It's probably a little black in the back here as he came down through that alley.
Well, he had some room to work. It looks like it might have been a hold in that area there.
During the return, holding number 86 of the return team. Penalty being forced from the spot of the foul. First down.
I'm going to say Oregon State.
All right, the answer. Okay, hold on here. Take a look at this first, Herbie.
Well, this is what this game has been about. Is Stanford, of course, can run the ball, and I think coming into the game tonight, Arizona put a lot of people up at the line of scrimmage, created the one-on-one matchup. This is the first drive of the game. Stanford seeing what Arizona is trying to do by loading the line of scrimmage, gave Owusu a chance to get one-on-one coverage, and they hit him for a big one early to kind of set the tone.
Oregon State is wrong. Washington Huskies. So it begs the question, what were the Seattle Mariners thinking of?
Right.
Okay. Let one get away. So here we go here now, Herbie, with after the return was basically nullified and brought back inside the 20. What's your feeling overall about the Stanford Cardinal and the job Jim Harbaugh's done here?
Unbelievable. I mean, it's a program that continues to get better with him as a head coach. And he took over in 07. They were 4-8 first year. Next year, 5-7. Last year, 8-5. Played Oklahoma in the Sun Bowl. This year, on their way to being 7-1. Steady progress every single year, and who knows what they're capable of doing in 2010 this year before it's all said and done.
Well, they win this one. They go to 8-1. And a reminder to stay tuned for the Ford wrap-up after the game. And a reminder, fans, to log on to bcstailgate.com for your chance to win the ultimate tailgate, the Ford F-150. Hottest selling pickup in the world right there now. Worth trying to get one of those. First down and 10 coming up. There he is. Only at Stanford.
You like the band here, right?
I do. They've always been one of my favorites. Well, the Stanford Cardinal, here is their big three tonight. And really with Taylor, it's rushing by committee. But look at what Owusu and Luck have combined for here tonight.
Yeah, in Stanford, again, they haven't been able to run the football as much as they would like to. And the main reason is because of the way Arizona's played them defensively. That Luck's had a good night, and Owusu has had a huge night. Made him really pay for it. The secondary from Arizona just can't stay with Owusu.
You're probably one of the all Pac-10 receivers.
Yeah, if he would have been healthy all year, he would have been, without a doubt, one of the better receivers in this conference. It's, by the way, got a pretty good group of receivers in the Pac-10.
Arizona State, meanwhile, is beating USC 7-0. That went down to the Los Angeles Coliseum at the end of the first period as we take a look at tonight's good hands play brought to you by Allstate. A wideout number 81. Watch this catch.
Yeah, how about the adjustment, too? I mean, he thought the ball might be thrown over his left shoulder. He had to adjust back to his right shoulder. They actually reviewed that play and confirmed that he made that catch.
Another great receiver from that 1970 team with Jim Plunkett is here tonight. Randy Vitaja. Power formation. Cardinal working on the clock right now. First down. Taylor stays in. He's one of the 5 running backs. They've used Taylor, Wilkerson, the freshman, Amanan, Stewart, and Gaffney. All have carried the ball here tonight for the Cardinal. Risick, too, has carried the ball, but he's the fullback.
This drive kind of has that feel of about a 13-play, 80-yard, six-minute drive coming up here.
Now here's the handoff to Taylor. Good first down. So the 1970 Rose Bowl team was honored here today at Stanford. And, of course, big ovation. There's Jim Plunkett.
Oh, please. I swear to God, so I hope you don't mind.
John Ralston, great coach. Underrated coach. A little bit ahead of his time when he came here to Stanford. Put this program together. Did a wonderful job with that team. So they went to back-to-back Rose Bowls. Wilkerson, the freshman, there's that power eye, and they move our favorite lead blocker over to the right side, and here they come, Herbie. First down.
He's going to keep wearing down Arizona up front, and again, you just look at not just his football game, but you look at the direction of where these teams go after this. Got to wonder how this could affect Arizona and their long-term goals and what they're trying to achieve this year. They still have Oregon to play later in the year when they go up to Eugene. And then with Stanford and Jim Harbaugh, I mean, they have, outside of their loss to the Ducks, this football team has gone through a few challenges and answered them. And I think they're going to start to gain a lot more attention nationally after this performance.
Back-to-back road games coming up for the Cardinal. We see Taylor wrestle down. They'll go to Arizona State and then California, and Stanford will close out with Oregon State, as you can see right there. And Oregon, the front runner with a win today. They play at California, Arizona at home, and Oregon State.
The game for Oregon that concerns me potentially is just a game at Cal, just because they're going to be ready to play Arizona at home and in the Civil War against Oregon State. They could be sleeping on Cal. That could be a dangerous game.
When the lights go down in the city.
The city by the bay. No prettier city in the world than San Francisco. The Giants win a championship, and right down the peninsula, they've got a real good college football team. I want to tell you right now. They battle right out of there for another first down and 10. Anthony Wilkerson. What an upside for this young man.
He's the guy that you can just see. He's got live legs. True freshman. Good size at 6'1", 220. Fits this style of offense perfectly, Brent. Just power running with the quickness that you need and some great vision. He's got 79 yards tonight, 9 carries.
Bringing the clock down to 6 minutes. Andrew Luck, a young man whose coach has been touting him for consideration for the Heisman Trophy. And I think that Jim Harbaugh is right on target. I think he's one of the best players in the country. (35-17). Stanford. They have dominated Arizona since the first quarter. So it's 5.5 minutes left as we keep bringing the clock down. Taylor behind Marisik. Well, Herbie, you talked about one-loss teams, and of course we've mentioned Stanford tonight and LSU, but there are some others, my friend.
Yeah, there's some great ones up there. Nebraska escaped against Iowa State up at Ames. Wisconsin is still out there. They were able to win today. Huge win for LSU. You got to believe that they're going to move up. Ohio State plays Penn State next week. Still have Iowa on their schedule. But I think Stanford deserves some serious consideration. Oklahoma State continues to impress some people, at least offensively, with the way they can score. It's going to be interesting down the stretch.
3rd down and 2 for the Cardinal. And here comes Taylor for the first down. Vassallo brings him down.
But all things equal, Brent, Stanford tonight and what we've seen from them all year, along with what LSU's been able to accomplish in that SEC, 2 teams that really stand out to me on that list.
Yeah, it's a good list. On a neutral field, any of those teams matched against each other would be a dandy of a football game, let me tell you.
Sure would.
So we get a little face mask. And then, of course, you know, when you look to the north and you think about what Chip Kelly and Oregon have accomplished, you think about over the past decade, Herbie, it strikes me that the Ducks have to be considered one of the most entertaining teams that anybody has seen in a long time. I mean, they really get it done up there under Kelly, let me tell you. Here comes Taylor at play fake. Luck is going to keep it and come around the left side. And Luck bangs for the first down. Wilcox rides him down. And then when we talk about this bunch, just consider what they can do.
Yeah, and today they clearly didn't have the fastball. I don't think they were real excited to play Washington, but in the second half they pulled away and did what they had to do. But right now, the best team in the country, I think it's the Oregon Ducks. And it's not just about their offense. I think it's also about the way their defense has been playing this year, especially in the second half.
53-16. The final score up in Eugene. Now it is a first down and goal here for Stanford. And there's a handoff, and Taylor walks in. Touchdown, Stanford. That is his 4th touchdown tonight.
I said at the beginning of this drive it had the makings of about 13 plays, about 6 minutes and 80 yards. Ended up being 11 plays, 83 yards in 5.5 minutes. So pretty much doing whatever they want against Arizona right now. And an impressive win tonight for the Cardinal.
And the Cardinal will move to 8-1, 5-1 in the conference. Meanwhile, Arizona will go to 4-2 in the Pac-10 and 7-2 overall. And Arizona has a very tough month up ahead. USC at home next week, and then on the 26th, they go to Oregon. We'll take a break, come back, and close it up. 42-17, Stanford well on its way to another Pac-10 victory tonight here over Arizona. 3:23 remaining on the clock. Travis Cobb for the Wildcats will come out from the 3-yard line. And he is down at the 29-yard line. We're going to remind you again that every Sunday, catch the BCS Countdown Show for the exclusive unveiling of the new rankings. 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. And Herbie, we would predict Auburn, Oregon stay 1-2.
Yep.
And TCU or Boise State.
You would have seen TCU. They passed Boise State last week, and then they beat number 5 this week. I want to see where TCU moves in the human poll. The Harris poll and the coaches poll, where Boise State was ahead of them even in those two polls, even though TCU ended up ahead in the BCS standings.
I'm going to throw something out tonight. I know it's probably a little controversial for some people, but here goes. Coach of the year, okay? I'm going to tell you, there's a fella at North Carolina that deserves consideration. Butch Davis has done an unbelievable job of holding that team together in the wake of the controversy, the coach being forced out, John Blake, all of those players being suspended, all of the turmoil. They go into Tallahassee today.
How about that?
And win.
Yep.
Flat out. I mean, he's won some big games this year.
You know, how about his quarterback, T.J. Yates? We had him in the opener against LSU, and all we heard about was how he was going to get benched and all the controversy. And T.J. Yates has had a good year, too.
Yes, he has.
That's not controversial to me at all. I think Coach Davis has done a great job.
I needed the Herb Street support.
There are a few out there, I'm sure, saying you're crazy.
Yeah, I know. There's a few Chip Kelly supporters up there who probably are thinking that right now, and certainly Kelly is a big-time candidate.
How about Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State?
Yeah, that's another good one.
I mean, people forget, you lose Des Bryant and Zach Robinson, a 3-year starting quarterback, and you're putting up 700 yards of offense today?
How about Gene Chizik? A lot of people didn't even want him at Auburn, and here he is. If he can go to Tuscaloosa, and it is now an enormous
prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 78, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
That's the thing that happened today is LSU beating Alabama, and Bama gets Auburn at home.
Absolutely.
All these people that want to see non-automatic qualifiers or these teams that are sitting down there 5, 6, 7 get a chance, all that has to happen is Bama has to beat Auburn at home. That can happen.
And remember, Auburn could have already wrapped up the West. If they beat Georgia next week,
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. They're going to the championship game.
But as far as the BCS championship, of
matters
course.
big time.
Yeah, big.
And we'll see how that works out. Cam Newton with another big day. Shook off that little controversy that was making the rounds here the last few days. Led Auburn to still another win. When we talk about the Heisman, you know, we've certainly got Newton. He's been the leader until now, but we'd like to see Andrew Luck at least included in the discussion. LaMichael James up at Oregon, Herbie, incomplete pass is the ruling down the field. LaMichael James has done a great job for the Ducks.
Yeah, and Cam Newton is up at the top. Looks like we have an injured Arizona wide receiver.
And one of the wide receivers, that's Dave Roberts.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Cam Newton is at the top, and I think LaMichael James would be there too. He took a big hit there by Howe, who's been very active in that Stanford secondary.
Yeah. Well, there's one thing we can, when we talk about Luck and the Heisman, let's not forget the Davey O'Brien Award for the top quarterback. You know, he certainly should be a finalist in that category with what we've seen with him.
Oh yeah, I mean he's one of those guys. It's amazing to look at him, and I know he has the pedigree, but he's a redshirt sophomore. I mean, to be as polished as he is says a lot about him. Says a lot about his father, of course, playing in the NFL and the way he grew up. Says also a lot about Jim Harbaugh.